This is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. And why she looks so sad in photographs, I absolutely love her. This is the story of a girl, a pretty face she hid from the world. And why she looks so sad and lonely there, I absolutely love her when she smiles. Hello, 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 and welcome to Comic Book Herald Live. Hey, everybody, I'm Dave Busing, founder and editor-in-chief of comicbookherald.com. How you doing? It's been a while. It's been a good, long while since we've had one of these, a proper CBH live on the mic. Today, we will be going through comics catch-up, some things that I've been missing out on, Ultimate Marvel Comics, Absolute DC Universe, all that fun stuff. We'll be talking about it here live on Comic Book Herald. If you're listening here live, thanks for joining. You can, of course, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Helps more people find what's going on here, helps us enjoy and engage with the chat. We're going to talk today again about the Absolute DC Comics universe and the Marvel Ultimate Universe. The whole thing, how they compare, how they contrast, what's working, what's not. We're going to do it all. We're going to talk about it here on the chat. And, it's been a while. It's been a while since we did one of these. I'm happy to have you all join on in. So let me know if you can hear everything. Let me know if you can see everything okay. We're going to go through into the comics here today. And, get in your questions. If you're here with us live, enjoy the privilege of those of you live. I will respond to as many questions and chats as I can. Let's see. Clifton says, it's so refreshing to catch one of your lives. Thanks, Clifton. Boy, do I miss the days of Hawks Pox. Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, it was kind of an amazing experience as an X-Men fan. But you know what? There's a lot of comics haven't slowed, right? It's like X-Men comics have slowed. Okay. And if that's the primary source of your fandom and the primary source of your comics reading experience, then yes, it, absolutely a disappointment to go from what it was to what it is now, which is absolutely not for me. I don't think it's very good. I don't think it's special. I don't think it's especially interesting. I saw listen, I'm not doing From the Ashes stuff, but I saw in this post-Krakoa era that they've already made Krakoa like an illness, like it's an illness for the X-Men now. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I don't need to read it. But we got plenty of comics. Whether you're reading Cape Comics, whether you're reading just great graphic novels, like my best graphic novel. Listen, it's year-end season, right? So I'm going deep on all things, but especially on the best comics. And it's so hard for me to get to just 50 great comics and graphic novels this year. It is so difficult for me to get that list down to a clean 50 of just my own personal favorites. Like I could do 100 easy, in all comics that I genuinely enjoy. I will say one that I read. I've got it sitting over on the shelf, but I can't quite get it, without. I don't know how to do this when I'm doing it solo. What am I going to leave? Am I going to leave the mic and just leave y'all here alone? That doesn't feel right. Big Jim and the White Boy by David F. Walker and Marcus Kwame Anderson, who I always want to call Kwame Brown Anderson, which is insulting in the sense that I'm getting his name wrong, but also in that I'm associating him with the most famous bust in NBA draft history, Sam Bowie. Got to be ahead of Kwame, right? Anyway, I don't know why I'm being rude to this individual. Great graphic novel, Big Jim and the White Boy. It just came out. It is a remix of Huckleberry Finn from the perspective of Jim, the runaway slave, with Huck, except it's a heck of a lot more than that. It's a heck of a lot more than that. Really, really great graphic novel. If it sounds of interest to you, I would recommend you check it out. It's a good one. David F. Walker did a bit of Root, and the two of them did the history of the Black Panther Party together, and it just loads of great comics between the duo. So that's a rec. From the Ashes is not. The Ultimate Universe, though, listen, I've been saying it all year. Okay, I've been saying it all year. Dave Stinney has strucketh again. I've been telling you, if you want good Cape Comics, if you want to read good superhero stuff, you're doing Marvel Ultimate, and now you're doing DC Absolute. That's where the good stuff is. That's where the cream is right now. On the superhero side of things, and that has been so, so true, it's been delightful to see the rest of the world finally catching up with that realization. I've been seeing headlines on what's left of our publishing sphere that the Marvel Comics Ultimate Universe is really onto something here. 1 year in, it's like, yeah, I've been on that. I've been telling you that quite some time. Quite some time. Listen, I'm just saying every article should credit me for being so on that so early. But I want to talk today about how the Absolute and how the Ultimate Universes compare. Obviously, it's early, right? Marvel's Ultimate Universe has a significant head start. We're a full year in, whereas Absolute just started, so that is a given. I do think it's useful also to keep in mind that Ultimate Invasion was pretty questionable as its own event. I was not super sold on Ultimate Invasion. Like, as set up for what this universe has become, Ultimate Invasion has functioned quite nicely, but purely as comics on its own terms, Hickman and Hitch, neither of them are at their best, or even close to it in Ultimate Invasion. It's definitely a rougher transition from what was clearly going to be a Donny Cates-led initiative prior to his accident, So they set the stage nicely, but that event wasn't that good. And the reason I point that out is because I'm very skeptical of DC All In, the big 80-page giant led by Scott Snyder and friends. And like, DC All In is supposed to be sort of the founding glue, the founding tissue of the Absolute Universe. And we're yet to see how that's going to manifest. And it's one of the things that I'm most curious about, if it will even be important. And for those of you who missed it, don't worry, you didn't miss much. It's not a very good comic. But the setup is essentially this. The setup is Darkseid has left, Darkseid of New Gods fame, has left Darkseid of Jack Kirby fame, has left Darkseid of a Grimes album fame. All right, I've done a premise. Has left Darkseid of Zack Snyder's Justice League fame. Okay, enough. Come on. You have actual people listening, Dave. Stop yourself. Darkseid has left the core DC universe and has made his own. He said, I am a god. He made his own universe and has shaped it with Darkseid energy in his own image. And that is the Absolute DC universe. So it is in classic Marvel and DC fashion. In classic and Marvel DC fashion, they are doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. It's amazing how often this happens. I don't know if it's collusion. I don't know exactly what to call it. Marvel does Secret Wars, where every version of their characters throughout history are all on a battle world together. DC does Convergence. Okay, that's like 2015 era. Marvel does Dark Reign. DC does Final Crisis. It's just there's Marvel does Infinite Crisis, or DC does Infinite Crisis. Marvel's doing Civil War, right? There's always this mirror a lot of times of a little bit of chasing the tail. And I could use a little more Marvel chasing DC's tail when it comes to things like Compact Classics, when it comes to things like Black Label, right? And obviously I've been high on that, but definitely the Ultimate Universe, Marvel was on it first. They were on it faster. They've been on it more successfully. And DC finally was like, all right, we need some version of this, but in our own way. Okay? So that's the prelude to comparing Ultimate Marvel and Absolute DC. Now, before one of y'all, and it's probably already happened, but inevitably somebody will jump in here and say, can't we just enjoy both of these? Do we have to compare? Do we have to contrast? Does it have to be a battle? Why we always got to be fighting, right? War, what is it good for? And you're right. You are right. But the stream would be really short. It'd be over very quickly. And frankly, I'm excited to be here. I haven't had a chance. I haven't wanted to get on the mic. Get on the mic, Mike. I can't do a Beastie Boys. I've never. I wish I could. I can't. I wish I had it in me. I definitely do not. But listen, that's what we're going to talk about today. Getting your thoughts, getting your questions. I'm seeing people pouring in. I'm happy to see it. Listen, it started scary there for the first 2 minutes. I had nobody in the chat. And I was like, have they all left me? I mean, listen, I am willfully and knowingly as anti-audience as I can be right now. but I do enjoy a smattering of loyal, um, uh, my kind, like just like my kind of readers, right? People on my wavelength. That's what I'm here for. That's what you all are. So thank you for being here live with me. It's very much appreciated to have somebody to bounce these things off of. Otherwise, I'm just doing it at my wife. And I promise you, she does not have thoughts or cares on the ultimate versus absolute DC lineup. But anyway, to the question. Ooh, Dave's Heralds. Kenji says, I like that. I like that. That's good. You get to call yourself a Herald. I considered, at the peak of Comic Book Herald, I considered changing my name to Harold. Herald. Just felt like, man, the synergy there. But you know what? That's why you don't make rash decisions during a peak, right? Because the valleys are coming. This is a valley year. If you couldn't tell, this is a valley year. This is a year of loss for me. And I say that with a smile on my face, but a genuine year of consistent loss. And you know what? I will tell you this. It helps to be raised a Cubs fan. It helps to be a Bears fan because I am used to losing. I own it. I wear it proudly. It is a part of my being. So when a year of loss comes, I'm already there, baby. I'm already there. Questions for the Ultimate Universe. Okay, here's what I think the Ultimate Universe has going into this. And we're going to talk about the individual comics and all that. Here's what I think the Ultimate Universe has that the absolute DC Universe needs to catch up. Okay, here are the things that I think it needs. Number one, there's a center and a countdown to the Ultimate Universe, right? We are building 18 months. Ultimates is doing it very deliberately in the Dennis Camp written Ultimates. Jonathan Hickman has been counting month by month throughout Ultimate Spider-Man. There's a clear road to an event. And it's not just that an event is coming, but there's a clear road to a big, momentous occasion when the Maker returns and stuff hits the fan, right? And that is interesting. It's exciting. It's connective tissue that brings all of these comics together. Yes, that is useful. What's cool about the Ultimate Universe's connections is it has largely been behind the scenes. It is not super present in Spidey, in Black Panther, and especially in X-Men, right? They are not reliant on you caring about the Maker, although increasingly a little bit more so as we get closer to what I am calling, what I am predicting, and lest we forget, Dave Stinney has strucketh before, I am predicting this will be Ultimatum 2. Okay, are they that dumb and desperate? Probably not. But until proven otherwise, I'm calling for Ultimatum 2.0 in 2025. Also, it would make sense, right? The Maker's going to come and make some demands. But that is coming. We know it's down the road, and that's exciting. The absolute DC universe. Listen, we've only got one issue of each thing, except for Absolute Batman, which had its second issue come out this week. The connective tissue is flimsy at best. Okay, it is. It's flimsy at best. At this moment, I don't care, right? And the setup is not interesting. I'm not thinking about Darkseid in these comics, and I don't need to be. That has not been the appeal of them. So for Absolute DC, the question is it a universe or is it a place? Is the Absolute DC thing, is it supposed to be a universe? Because the Ultimate Tooniverse, it's a universe. This is a shared thing, right? These things are going to collide at some point in some fashion. Absolute DC could just be a place. Nick Dragotta, Frank Martin, go wild with Batman. Like, at this moment, in the early stages, I don't need to see these characters ever intersect. Like, I'm enjoying it heartily as an Elseworlds and artist showcase. And there's no part of me that is like, when does Justice League come together? You know? Now, we're so early. We're so early days on that. That could become a thing. But the framing, again, the thing that Ultimate Invasion and the setup of the Ultimate Tooniverse that it was most successful at was the maker and the council shaping the world, and a world of would-be heroes coming to terms with what they can or can't do about that. And that was interesting framing. Okay? It speaks to the times. It speaks to superhero, just like, you got known characters like Colossus leading a sect of Russia, or Hulk leading, portions of the world, right? You got everything you want in the mix in the universe building. For DC, that's not there. So I'm kind of like, I think it'd be better if they don't chase that, at least at this point. Maybe you don't need that center. Maybe you just say, this is just a space where basically we're just doing What If. Basically, we're just doing Elseworlds. But I can't help but think that the way they set up All In, that is not the intent. That they do intend to bring these things. Like, at some point, somebody's going to address the dark side of it all. It's going to come up, right? You can't just have that character on ice forever. So they're going to have to do some hard work to make us care. And it can't just be, well, y'all love Darkseid, right? It can't just be that. You got to have more to it. Okay? The other questions I have about the differences between the Ultimate Universe and Absolute DC, can the Absolute Universe pull off a Ben Jonah issue like Ultimate Spider-Man 10 just did? Does it even have that in it? Okay. Now, if you haven't read it yet, Ultimate Spider-Man number 10, the issue is entirely focused on Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson running their paper, cracking the secrets of the Kingpin and Oscorp and the Maker and the Council, and getting on the tail of Woodward and Bernsteining their way to the Maker's Council. I think Peter Parker is in the comic for all of 10 seconds. 5 pages at most. Okay? Does the Absolute Universe have that kind of juice? Does it have that kind of weight to make us care about characters like I've never liked Uncle Ben more. Now, womp womp, right? But I've never liked J. Jonah Jameson more, and he's been around. He's been around. I've never rooted harder for older men to get together. I don't know that I've ever had anywhere near as much of a rooting interest in just saying, you two should be together. You're so happy. It makes me happy to see you so happy. Can the Absolute Universe pull off a Ben Jonah issue? Right now, there are no signs of that. Again, so early, it's hard to say what these could progress into down the road. Okay? And then the other thing that the Ultimate Universe has that Absolute DC does not have, but it kind of works as an inverse a little bit, where the Absolute DC universe has this thing that the Ultimate Universe doesn't have. Ultimate Universe is very writer focused, and the Absolute DC universe is very art focused. Now, this is a little simple way of framing this, okay? And you can immediately push back on it with, of course, Peach Momoko driving a very art forward Ultimate X-Men run, and Marco Cicchetto is fantastic, right? The point here is not there are really good artists driving these books. The point is, with the exception of Ultimate X-Men, which continues to be just a total weirdo outlier that delights me to no end, the Ultimate Universe is very focused on writer narratives, plot-driven exercises, and a lot of the thrill of it, a lot of the joy of it, comes from ideas, I would say. Whereas Absolute DC, so far, the joy of it comes from letting Nick Dragotta and Frank Martin go wild with that chonky-ass Batman and the biggest Batmobile you ever did see. And Absolute Wonder Woman, that's a huge part of the appeal. Now, maybe a better way to frame this is to say, I think Absolute DC, at least between Batman and Wonder Woman, which for me are the high points. Absolute Superman did nothing for me, but those are the high points. They feel like more cohesive collaborations, I will say. And a big part of this is because Cicchetto is has already had to take time off of Ultimate Spider-Man, because when Chiquetto's there with Hickman, um, probably it's right in the mix, and probably I wouldn't have these thoughts. But it feels very art forward. It feels like creators who are very established and very skilled. Scott Snyder and Kelly Thompson's bona fides are out there for you to see, right? But they seem to have a very keen understanding here of, this is an opportunity for me to play point guard a little bit, right? For me to set up Dragata, to set up Sherman and say, show the people what you can do. Whereas on the Ultimate line, Dennis Camp is the one dunking the ball, right? Jonathan Hickman is the one hitting the threes, generally speaking. I don't know. I could see some pushback on this. Am I wrong? It's possible. I might be overstating it, but it feels a bit inverted at the moment, again, with the exception of Ultimate X-Men, which completely throws everything to the wind, and that book is so unlike and so unusual in this lineup that it totally doesn't fit my theory at all. Is that a bad thing, one way or the other? No. Like the best comics are collaborators and creators working together in tandem as a team. And listen, if the ball goes in the hoop, doesn't matter how it got there, right? I don't know. I got lost in the basketball metaphor. Okay. JD says, I could read an Absolute Batman issue just on Batman's Rogues Gallery playing poker. See, I'm not there yet with that at all. But I'm interested in if Snyder has the juice there to make the Absolute Batman Friends Gallery. Because apparently all the would-be rogues are pals with Bruce Wayne. Does he have the juice to make them all individually compelling in this universe? Right? That would be very interesting. I think, for my money, Snyder's very ham-fisted in his delivery of, the fandom winks. Okay? And there are moments where I could call that out and be critical and cringe, but actually I'm just whooping and hollering. Like, there's a panel in Absolute Batman #2 where he makes a Batman AF reference. And in the moment, my shirt was way off. Threw that thing out, ran down the street, sprinted around the block, right? I'd spent a night in county. I was so excited, okay? But when it's like very, very like, like Two-Face, I think Harvey Dent had a line that was like, maybe I was watching Cape Crusader and this happened. Cape Crusader's not great. What happened to Cape Crusader? I've been catching up on Batman Cape Crusader, which came out on Amazon Prime. It's got amazing, comics folks working on it. You got Bruce Timm, but then you got Ed Brubaker, Greg Rucka, and it was absolutely Batman or Cape Crusader, and Two-Face is like, depends which way the coin flips or something like that. And it's like, that's such a corny fan wink. That doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. So anyway, can he make these rogues individually compelling? The first issue ended with that super corny Joker thing. There's a subtlety and a control required to those moments that Hickman is very good at and pulls off very successfully in Ultimate Spider-Man. I was rereading Ultimate Spider-Man #1 because I was deciding whether or not the first 6 issues should be considered among my favorite comics of the year. And ultimately I decided yes. It's gonna be like in the top 30 range. The first issue is teasing Venom. It's right there. But it's like subtle enough that it's not like a real big Lucille Bluth. And Absolute Batman is like, it's the big hammy wink. Okay. I'm being more critical of a book that I really enjoy. Absolute Batman is a flippin' blast. I just think it is a flippin' blast because Snyder is out there saying, Dragata, Martin, go crazy, go hard, show everybody what they've been missing on East of West and what you can do for Batman. And then to Snyder's credit as well, I find it very emotional, this new origin, and like way too deeply relatable in terms of experiences with my own kids. Obviously not the tragedy, but the idea that it could happen, that emotion to set the trauma of Batman that drives him to be Batman in this universe. Absolutely. Absolutely. So it is working. It's a good 2 issues. I'm excited to read Absolute Batman every month. I'm excited to read Absolute Wonder Woman #2 as well. I really like Sherman's designs. So it's right now, I would say, like, the Ultimate Universe is well in the lead. They got a massive head start, right? I I I'd be surprised if the Absolute line caught them, but I think we're also gonna get some really good books out of this, and then it's like, cool, we have, like, 2 art or, creator-focused series, which, like, it's weird. It's weird to watch this be celebrated as if it was, like, a new idea or, like, a unique idea, like, "Hey, what if, this is our line for creator-focused stories." It's like, what does that say about the 78 other comics you publish every month? Why why are those, McDonald's hamburgers? And I get it, sort of, but it's like the Ultimate Universe and Absolute DC, these should be raising the bar for the whole flippin' enterprise. Like, this is what, like, whether they're all fantastic or not isn't the point. This should be the drive and the desire of publishing superhero comics. Like, I don't care that you can fill my local comic shop shelves every week. Like, that is not satisfying to me as a person, as a fan of this entertainment. Right? But I am very interested if you can have individuals like a Nick Dragata and Marco Cicchetto and Hayden Sherman doing their best, Peach Momoko, right? Doing just their most interesting ideas and having, like, relative free reign to make that happen. That is interesting. That is artistically satisfying. And guess what? It's selling like flipping hotcakes. Like, and it's gonna get your characters out there. It's gonna move the needle. It's gonna make all your bosses happy as well. I think fans are bored and sick and tired of just filling the shelves at the shop. You know, like, congratulations on your 72 variant covers. None of them tell a story. Okay, none of them are the things that people are going to be talking about. Right. So I'm excited to see this enthusiasm and focus, but it's like, this is what the bar should be for all of this, all the time. All right. I'm gonna get a sip of water, cool down, got a little heated there. Getting your questions, getting your thoughts. I'm gonna take a gander here while I get myself situated. We're sponsored today by a quarter glass of ice water. Put a little ice in your glass, you let it melt on down, take a sip. Let's see. Open Mike Eagle says, wait, what does Batman AF mean? I thought it was odd, but I don't know that reference. JD says advanced front, but it means something else too. So in the context of the comic, Snyder's talking, he has Alfred narrating, and Alfred is talking about how Batman needs to learn to retreat. He needs to learn R&R, retreat and rest, or whatever it is in military co-ops terms. I don't know. I'm not an old guy reading war books. And he's using that, but then he says maybe Batman is just one long advance forward. And so it's advance forward is AF. But then what I assume Snyder was going for as well was he's Batman AF. He's Batman as curse word. He's Batman as F. I don't swear in my pods. I don't know why. I stick to it. I think I'm just constantly worried my mom might listen. Like, one day my mom might listen and I don't want her to hear me swear. Will this ever happen? Absolutely not. Just too deep in my head. Can't shake it. Anyway, I think that's what the AF is. And I think it's Snyder being coy. I think it's him being cheeky with, like, younger, like, tech slang. But also, like, it's kind of appropriate for, like, what Dragata is doing. Like, Dragata's Batman is Batman AF. Like, it's just all the Batman, all the thigh, all the tank, all the flip it, like that panel. Oh my, like, let's see if we can find it. That flipping panel, it's Batman standing in front of a building that he bombed to scare off the black masks. It's gonna take me a while to get to this. And he blew it up so that there's like a bat smiling on the building. Here we go. Right there. I mean, come on. It's just the Batman AF is being so over the top and so ridiculous, but like gleefully having fun with it. I think the fun thing for me with this is like the last time Snyder was like this successfully was DC Metal, the event that not Death Metal, but DC Metal, the first post New 52 Batman event that he did with Greg Capullo. I loved that event, and that was them just saying, let's just do the most metal, righteous Batman AF stuff we could possibly think of. Okay, so that's what I took that to mean. Maybe that's not actually what the reference was, but that's what I thought they were going for. He's really recapturing that energy here. It's just not Capullo anymore. It's Dragata, but it's very much a similar ethos, I think, in a lot of ways. All right. What other questions? Let's see. We had a question here about the Bears offensive coordinator. The Bears are dead. Bears are absolutely dead in the water. Things are as bad as ever. Started promising. Caleb looked great, and now I've never felt worse. That's not true. I felt pretty bad the last couple weeks. But oh man, Bears are dead. Bears are dead. We need a new coach, a new head coach. Pretending it's the offensive coordinator is foolish. Foolish. Kenji says, Ultimates by Dennis Camp is actually very reliant on Ultimate Invasion, but I feel the Absolute books are all doing something else. I don't think it's reliant on Ultimate Invasion so much as it is continuing the plot threads, right? It is very much the book that is playing with that core plot of the Maker's Council, and like definitely it is a continuation of the setup of that. But Dennis Camp and Juan Frigeri and the team, like they're absolutely doing their own thing with it. I mean, Ultimates continues to be, I would say, my number one of all of these. I think I'd go, again, it's so early on the Absolute stuff. Right now, I would go Ultimates, Ultimate Spider-Man, Absolute Batman, Ultimate X-Men, Absolute Wonder Woman, Black Panther, Absolute Superman. That feels right. And the only one of those that I'm not like excited about is Absolute Superman. I would say. I'm just not seeing the appeal of it yet. I felt like I'd been there before too many times with the approach to Absolute Superman. Honestly, quite a lot. Like it felt like you got a little sprinkle of Birthright, got a little sprinkle of Earth 1, we got a little Flashpoint. Didn't hit for me. But it's the only one of these that hasn't hit for me so far. Let's see, what other questions do we got? Let's see. Cerso says, oh my God, he glanced at me. That's what happens when I move my camera. Does it look like I'm looking directly? Oh, wrong one. What's up, Cerso? All right. Oh, Mike Eagle says, R.I.P. Bears. Listen, we had 6 wonderful games, and we're gone. Dow says, Fluss for 5 more years. I ban people for less. And I wish I was being serious and I knew how to do that, but that's offensive and disgusting, and no one should be saying things like that. How dare you? How absolutely dare you? Okay, what do we want to say about these comic books? We talked about Absolute Batman number 2. Absolute Wonder Woman. Loved Hayden Sherman's designs and layout choices. It should come as no surprise to anyone that Kelly Thompson can write the hell out of a baby Diana, raised by Cersei, in hell. It's a fantastic first issue. It is a first issue that left me wanting more. I think, was Absolute Batman actually much longer? Or is that just how it felt? Because Absolute Wonder Woman went fast. Felt like, man, it's over already. Very excited about this book. Very excited about this, both for Thompson and for Sherman. Like these are creators very much seem to be in sync. Who seem to be tapped into how to make this thing cool as hell. I mean, the vibes of the Absolute Universe are just like just all vibes, right? Like turn off your brain. Just vibe and look awesome. Right? Like that's kind of, and it's like, yeah, all right. That sounds okay sometimes. I think I could do that. Absolute Superman, like I said, not seeing the appeal. I'd be curious to hear from somebody who was more into it. I don't have a good sense of like, Absolute Batman seems to be unanimous praise. Everybody seems to be enjoying it. Absolute Wonder Woman, I saw very good things. People seem to be into that as well as my. What's the impression of Absolute Superman? Because I was very unimpressed by it. It did not make me want to read a second issue. Even. And I think I'm like, okay, like, listen, we're going to be covered here. on the absolute side. We got absolute Batman. We got absolute Wonder Woman. There's going to be absolute Green Lantern, written by L. Ewing. There's going to be absolute Martian Manhunter coming, written by Dennis Camp with is it Javier Rodriguez? That's going to be a flipping knockout. Okay, like there's going to be a lot of good DC Absolute. I think I'm already out on Superman, but maybe I need to give it a second. I don't know. I also haven't. I like Jason Aaron plenty, but I have not enjoyed a Jason Aaron comic since Thor ended, and I like that. That runs. That's up there. That is up there. Great stuff. Loved that run, but I don't think I've been into something. Actually, you know what? Once upon a time at the end of the world is okay. That's okay. It's not like a favorite, but I enjoyed it fine. But I got to see something else interesting here from Absolute Superman. I think that does it for DC. I do see the interesting question here from Caps, From the Ashes versus DC All In. I would rather read DC All In for sure. Like, no questions asked. I just, that's not, it's a different, challenge as well. Right? Like DC All In is like a moment of everyone on every title across the universe trying to do something cool and memorable and creating like the next great DC run, right? So you're going to get some good stuff out of that. From the Ashes is very much like a deeply conservative, like restore X-Men from some perceived fall in the vision of someone who, like, I don't know, is kind of just all about like let's move some units, and there's no creative ethos to From the Ashes. Whereas DC All In seems to genuinely have like a creative vision that I could get into. So I would much rather read DC All In than listen. I'm completely done with From the Ashes. Like I could not be more done. I will not be revisiting anything in the line. Dow says Jason Aaron had a great story in the recent Savage Sword mag. I'm not a huge Conan guy, but I respect that. I believe that. Randall says everyone's missing out on Aaron Namor. I think you're right, Randall. Everyone is missing out on that. It's hard to imagine a Namor book ever doing well. Like regardless of quality. It's like that character specifically. I have never in my life seen like a cry for like, man, God, I have my Namor solo. Like, listen, love me some Namor with the Illuminati. Love me some Namor as a homeless individual getting his beard roasted off by Johnny Storm. But solo, not everybody needs to be solo. Right? Like, I don't know that I need like a Capadonna solo. But I'll go listen to Enter the 36 Chambers right after this. That might actually not be true. Who's the one who does Czarface? Who's the Wu-Tang guy who does Czarface? I like Czarface a lot, actually. Their gimmick was kind of like, hey, we like nerd stuff too. But we used to be in Wu-Tang. But then, like, it's actually good. Is that Capadonna? I don't think so. Capadonna might not even be the one I... All right, are we ranking the Wu-Tang right now? Are we doing this? This is a bad idea. I'm not prepared for this today. That requires at least a week's worth of research for me to feel confident. I know Ghostface has been my favorite historically. I've listened to the most solo Ghostface by far. Purely on like a who would you take for one verse kind of thing. I'd probably go Jizza or ODB just for like one verse to hit. But Ghostface is always up there for me. Liquid Swords is probably my favorite album of the bunch. Oh, I do love Method Man. I actually like Method Man a lot. TKL or Method Man? Hit me with it. Man, when Spotify became a thing and you could just listen to all this stuff Like, because I at that point, like this is like early 2010s, I never listened to like all the Wu-Tang solo. I swear, the first like year of Spotify was like I was in heaven. It's like, man, I can just listen to all these albums all the time. And then you realize, like, well, yeah, but no one gets paid. And that's maybe an issue. Inspect the Deck is the one in Czarface. We got confirmation. Dow points out Czarface times MF Doom goes hard. Check it out. Highly recommended. Just don't check it out on Spotify. All right. What are we talking about? Rez says Invaders would be better. I think Invaders is the team book. How do I say this? Invaders is the Namor of team books. Nobody wants an Invaders run either, except for Roy Thomas. Like, I think Invaders are the least interesting Marvel team as well. Although, actually, that Chip Zdarsky written Invaders run, that was really good. That led to some cool theories back when we thought theories might come to fruition in the Krakoa era of X-Men. Oh, Mike Eagle says, Capadonna slander. I'd like to apologize to Capadonna and their family. Slandered them much harder than I needed to. I had not done my research. I had not checked my facts. Listen, I think it takes, right now, I think the thing that I look for most in individuals is curiosity about the world around you and the ability to admit when you're wrong. And and I will apologize immediately to the Capadonna family. All right. Ultimates. The thing that I respect and enjoy so very much about the Ultimates is that it is challenging very conservative visions of America, calling out racist things said by former presidents like Teddy Roosevelt, while simultaneously having a boatload of fun. This is a comic that in back-to-back issues can stack indigenous suffering and the history of mistreatment of the American Indian into a new Hawkeye, and then roll into the next issue, where Dennis Camp plays on the shared use of Immortal in Hulk and Iron Fist history, and bring us the immortal warriors of the Hulk and their kung fu insanity. Like, the blend of smart, cutting, real commentary with just the best kind of Marvel Comics BS. I'm so here for it. It's amazing. This is why The Ultimates is my favorite of any of these books, I think. I like Ultimate Spider-Man a heck of a lot. I think the second arc has been better than the first by quite a bit even, and I was already in. But The Ultimates is my favorite of all of these, I think by far. It is so strong. It is raising the bar tremendously for what we can and should expect from superhero comics. The first arc does have us asking a fairly important spoilery question, too. Okay? So, spoilers follow if you haven't read The Ultimates number 6. That issue is the Hulk beating the asses of the Ultimates. Check out all the asses, the assets that attract us. I've been listening to all my burned CDs. Every CD I burned back when I was an Iron Lad, which is what I called myself. Not as popular with the ladies as you'd expect, right? You go into the frat house and you're like, my friends call me Iron Lad. You think they're gonna swoon? Generally, they turn and walk away. just a little tidbit for those of you still going into frat houses. I think I could pull it off, right? I think I could pull it off. A little gray in the beard, sure, but like, I don't think I immediately get arrested. Anyway, asking the question, is Iron Lad really dead? Is he dead? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say the Hulk actually killed him. Because I think it is very fixable. And I think it's very fixable because, again, from Ultimate Invasion, which I don't remember that well because I didn't enjoy it that much, we got a little Iron Lad Kang situation here. Right? We got time travel. We got future Iron Lads to pull from. It's an interesting choice. I think you can get away because Iron Lad. He's also like so he's the one who brought everyone together, right? He's the little teen terrorist bringing all this the merry band together. But he's character wise. I mean, I guess he's pretty central to this book, but I'm not like hugely sold on this version of Tony yet. And I think too, like generally speaking, Teen Tony is not a win. So do you want to be stuck with Teen Tony forever? Forever. And I think you probably don't. I think you need to have some space here where the team decides to carry on the mission on the behalf of Iron Lad, who brought them together and gave his life. And then I think when you get to Ultimatum 2 here next year, you can very easily say, oh, here's Tony again. Now he's king. Right? It's right there on the table. I think that's how they're going to do it. But I do think Teen Tony's going to be off the board for a while. Randall says, I like Teen Tony. There are dozens of us. Listen, when he's talking to Cap in these latest issues, and what I really like about Teen Tony is like he's smart, but he's not arrogant yet. And this version of him, like he has doubts and he has guilt, and it feels it's less the RDJ swagger and more that teen who like hasn't figured stuff out yet. Right? And I think it's going to hurt to take him off the board for a minute, which means it's probably the right choice. Deadpool says, I feel like how Camp portrays him as playing with Hickman's hold. The young heroes are able to figure stuff out and fix everything. I mean, it is important, too, that the Ultimates should not win this fight. Not just with the Hulk, but like overall. Right? Like the Maker had years, millennia to like plan and craft this thing. One of the interesting wrinkles in the Ultimate Universe right now is like, so the Maker's like, here's my grand plan. The Spider won't bite Peter. And the Fantastic Four are off the board. I'll torture my Reed and turn him into a Doom. And I got Wolverine's adamantium in a closet. No Wolverine as we know them on the board. Even though there's going to be another one written by Chris Condit. Very excited about that series. But, okay, so the Maker does that, right? He's a genius. Or so he says. Left a lot of players on the board. Left a lot. Like, was the Maker's Marvel Encyclopedia not a complete edition? like did the Maker bootleg his encyclopedia and it was like all your favorites and it's like clearly just like one guy's like cut out a bunch of Wikipedia entries? I mean, you forgot a lot of individuals, right? Thor's still out there. All these people, it's like, I mean, still got Peter Parker. It's like, what? The Spider didn't bite him. He's still out there. I don't think Maker went for the full version of the Marvel Encyclopedia. America Chavez is just lying around in the White House. I'm not sure even. I got to reread that. What the hell is going on? Why is she even in the White House? Right? A lot of heroes still floating around. I think if the Maker gets a chance at another universe, I don't know, maybe take out all the heroes? Maybe go a little further? Fast says, the Maker doesn't care about everyone. He can't have a plan for Ultimate D-Man. Okay, first off, no one has a plan for Ultimate D-Man. That's true, you're right. There's a version of things where it's like, you go like so far down the list of, the D-Man, of Stiltman, of Razorback, of who's the car guy? Hot Rod, right? You grizzly man bear in there. You go really far down the list. It's just all these also rans, but that's not this book, right? Like it's still like all the normal Avengers. I'm just saying. I feel like there's some cracks in the Maker's plan. But yeah, I do think Iron Lad is definitely dead. For now. I don't think we will see this version of him again, which does raise. Although okay, so I say that, and it's like, oh well, you can just time travel and get King back. But then it's like, well, when did he travel in time? and live a life and then come and die as a teen, that gets timey-wimey fast. My head hurts just talking about it. Oh, Vass says, won't someone please think of Ultimate Big Wheel? That's what I was thinking of when I said Hot Rod. I think I've shed a lot of Marvel knowledge over the last, 2 years. And I think I filled it with pictures of my kids. And I definitely haven't developed any skills in that time. I think it's just pictures of my kids. Got to clear the storage again. All right. I think we did it. I think we talked about all the comics. Oh, Ultimate X-Men continues to be fascinating. I'm constantly delighted in just how free this book is. I shared this shortly before we started, but if Peach Momoko and Zach Davison released this book under, I don't know, Oni Press, and they were like, yeah, we call it High School Murder Club, and you didn't change a thing, it would be like a critically acclaimed, fairly well-regarded, American manga. But instead, Marvel's publishing it, and it's called Ultimate X-Men. I just cannot not enjoy that. The big reveal in issue 10, or is it 9? Maybe it's 9 that came out this week, was, okay, so there was a tease of a big fuzzy naked guy with multicolored pipes going in his nose. A little nod to the old Barry Windsor Smith Weapon X. It's not Wolverine as we know him, which is not surprising. It is someone named Akihiro, which is the name of Deken, a.k.a. Fang, a.k.a. No, we'll call him Deken, because no one's going to start calling him Fang. So that art is, phenomenal, first off. Love the Windsor Smith homage, but then just, the purport. Man, but when Peach goes for it, there are moments in Ultimate X-Men. There's at least one moment in every issue of Ultimate X-Men that is the coolest thing you'll see in a superhero comic that week. But it's Akihiro. Called himself the first mutant. So, I don't think we're supposed to believe that Deken is the son of Logan Wolverine in this book. I don't know that would work, because it also seems to be his abilities or mutantdom is what is fueling or creating all the other mutants in this cult of the Children of the Atom. Things are coming along nicely in this book too, where you got Mastermind, is kind of the dweeb leading things, but he's reporting into Viper, who's a member of the council. It is starting to connect to the bigger picture in its own way, but in a way that absolutely doesn't derail it at all. Was the eye patch girl, was that supposed to be Cyclops? There's a moment in the latest issue where this eye patch girl shoots a laser out of her eye. And obviously, if you're an X-Men fan, you're like, ooh, Cyclops. So I guess probably that is their version, but I was also but given the way this book has gone so far, I mean, the most well-known mutants used are Armor and Surge, and probably the most well-known character, I mean, I guess Akihiro, I guess kind of the Shadow King, and Nico Monuro. So do we actually, I don't know that that's actually meant to be a Cyclops. It'd be just as easily called something else entirely. Oh, Randall says, yeah, she's Cyclops. There's even a Zark sound effect. See, that's how they're going to do it, though. Is they're yeah, this girl named Natsuka wears an eye patch and shoots lasers out of one eye. That's Cyclops. You're not going to get a Scott Summers remix. Oh, the eclectic blurty niche points out because her name means summer. Hell yeah. Now we're talking. That's what I need. All right. So we got a Cyclops. That's great. We got a Cyclops in Ultimate X-Men. She's nothing, absolutely nothing like Cyclops as you know them. Great. Fantastic. Love it. Do your thing, Ultimate X-Men. Stay weird. Ultimate X-Men is the Portland of these books right now. Just stay weird. That's all I want from you. All right. Final questions. Final thoughts. We all learned something today. Thank you to the Eclectic Blurty Niche for that. That was awesome. Translation I would not have even thought to look up. Great call. Questions, thoughts, final moments. Let's do it. Oh, taking a big old swig. Randall asks, Avengers vs. Aliens issue 2. You know what? Thank you for reminding me to read it. I have not read it. I need to read that second issue. I've been catching up on all the comics I bought at the Short Box Comics Fair, which was throughout the month of October. That's been where most of my focus has been. I've also, because I don't have enough to read, apparently, started reading Sandman Mystery Theater after I interviewed Matt Wagner the other months. That's a good-ass noir comic. Having a good time there. Deadpool 630 says, thoughts on Ultimate Black Panther. If there's a newer issue I haven't caught up, the last I saw in Ultimate Black Panther, we had the Sorcerer Supreme, and there was a tease about who it could be, but was it actually revealed who it is? I guess y'all can tell me. I will not be upset about a spoiler if I missed it. Thou asked, did you get around to reading TMNT number 3? No, and I won't read this run on Turtles until there's a trade. I'm certain of that. Just I don't feel the urgency there. I did put on my Christmas wish list the original Eastman Laird Turtles compendiums because my kids like reading them with me, and they're awesome. Well, my kids are, but the comics. And it's like, I think those are the coolest comics I can read with my kids right now. They're all younger than 7. Right? And I enjoy reading stuff that they like, too, with them. You know, we got our Investigators, we got our Dogman, of course. But then I get to read just like OG Turtle. Like, I would just do that for fun anyway. And I get to read it with them. The trickiest part with Turtles is you start doing that animated Michelangelo voice. Like where was animated Michelangelo raised? That his dialect is like so different, bro, from like all of the other turtles. You know, like Raph and Leo and Master Splinter. Like, he was raised in an entirely different community. None of the rest of them talk like that. Raph sounds like Chandler from Friends. Okay? Leo's just classic hero voice. And Donnie's like slightly nerdier. You know? Master Splinter's like a weird Asian stereotype. That like lasted much too long. And then Mikey just comes in so hot. They were raised in the same sewer. I'm certain of it. Was it one of those, like, he's the youngest sibling and the parents checked out? Like they used to be really strict. And then they checked out so hard on the last kid with, like, fine, just watch whatever. And he just watched Baywatch nonstop or something. I don't know. Where do you even pick that up on TV? I could not tell you. Anyway, the point is, you do that accent for long enough, you regret that you started doing it fairly quickly when you're reading to children. And the problem is then you can't stop because then they won't know you're not doing you're doing the Mikey voice anymore. And the biggest trick with the OG Mirage and Lard stuff is they're not wearing different color headbands, man. Those turtles didn't start wearing different color headbands until the animated show came out. Because the TV executives, rightfully, execs get a bad rap, man. Execs often have great notes, and they rightfully pointed out that these turtles need different colors so that we can understand which is which. In the comics, you have no idea. Red headbands all around. Could be anyone. Absolute insanity. No, it's a fun time, though. I'm looking forward to reading those turtle comics. All right, I think we did it. Boss says, could he be any more angry? Who are we talking about? We talking about me? Was that too much rage? Too real for you? Listen, I can end this thing with turtle thoughts every night. I tell you that. I got turtle thoughts every night of the week in this household. Turtles are huge. Pokemon are on the back burner again. Dinosaurs, I would say dinosaurs, you think they're going to go away, and then it's like huge comeback for dinosaurs. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, very high on the list. I've been playing a lot of Splintered Fate. I tell you what, get yourself a couple sons. Get yourself a couple sons and start playing some TMNT Shredder's Revenge. That one's especially good if you got a young kid who will hold a PlayStation controller while you play on Switch. Okay, a little trick, a little expert parent tip trick for you. And then you get into TMNT Splintered Fate. I got turtles out the wazoo in here. Thanks for listening, everybody. I think we can end it right there. Thank you for listening. Seriously, appreciate y'all being here. Let's see. Am I gonna be? Listen. My schedule is gonna be erratic. Not because I can't commit to doing this and like I don't have the time. I just don't know that I'm gonna want to. On a, on a regular cadence. Let's see what comes out next week. Another issue of Ultimate Spider-Man. We got, oh no, that's regular Wonder Woman. We got Immortal Thor. Yeah, I don't know, man. Doesn't sound that exciting. Got Storm #2. That I'm still interested in keeping up with. I take back my I'm not reading any from the Ashes. I'll read Storm #2. We got Absolute Wonder Woman #2 the following week. Ultimate Black Panther #10 there. Maybe we do an every 2-week cadence. That feels right. Don't you think? I haven't read Mystique yet. I don't know. Should I pick that up? What does anybody think? Anybody think I should pick up Mystique? If I get 2 nominations in the chat, I'll read the first issue of Mystique. Shouts to Owen Likes Comics. Thanks for joining here. Said just stopping by to show some love for the GOAT. Really love the newest issue of Ultimate X-Men. Peach is the GOAT. I completely agree. Ooh, we got 2 fast no's on Mystique. Randall comes in hot with a no. Banksy with a no. It's bad. Jordan says Mystique was good, but the last page ruined the whole thing. Uh-oh, was it another QR code? They hit you with that QR code again? Damn, Marvel, always tricking us. All right, that's not a rave review for Mystique. That's a shame. But I mean, listen, that's better for me. I was hoping for no's, if I'm being honest. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I will see you, I don't know, a couple weeks, maybe? I don't know. Like I said, I'm anti-audience, but I appreciate all of you. The true heralds. Enjoy the comics.